With the new iPad Pros, Apple released two very interesting tablets that could be the best ever made. They promise a great design, nice displays and an outstanding performance. Other features include Face ID, 4 speakers, a new Apple Pencil and a keyboard cover. I've been using the 11-inch iPad Pro for over a month now. How good is it? I'm NJ for mynexttablet.com and that's what you will find out in my iPad Pro review. The new iPad Pro generation has a completely new design. For example, the home button is missing now, and instead of those thick bezels we get very thin and symmetrical ones that makes it look very modern and elegant. We get a full metal body here which feels very high-end. At the same time it is very thin with just 5.9mm and it weighs just 468 grams. While the home button is missing, we still do get a power button and the volume controls on the sides. That's where you can find a little plastic bar to charge the new Apple Pencil too. Another feature built into the frame are 4 speakers and, considering this is a tablet, the speakers are outstanding. They do offer a decent bass and are the best speakers of any tablet I reviewed. Apple changed another major part of the design. Instead of the old Lightning connector we finally get a USB-C port. Because of that port you can charge the iPad Pro much faster and connect accessories much easier than before. For example, you can use every USB-C card reader now and can transfer images from your camera easily. The transfer speed is much faster too and you can connect external monitors using the same port. Sadly, you cannot connect external USB-C hard drives. I mean, you can connect them, but nothing happens. And while you can transfer images easily, the same is not the case for videos. For example, the iPad Pro does not recognize the videos shot with my Sony a7 III, and that is a new and popular camera. Apple does support the file format, but the folder structure that Sony is using is not compatible. Overall, it is still awesome that we are getting a USB-C port. On the downside though, Apple removed the headphone jack. On the back there's a 12 megapixel camera with an LED flash and the front-facing camera has a resolution of 7 megapixels. Again, especially when considering that this is a tablet, the picture quality is very good. You can record better videos and take better pictures than with pretty much all other tablets. When holding the iPad Pro in portrait mode, the front camera sits on the top. Next to it we get a true depth camera which enables Face ID. I'm sure you've heard of it from the iPhone X already. It pretty much works the same. In the beginning you let the iPad scan your face and then you can unlock it using facial recognition. And Face ID is awesome. I really like fingerprint scanners, but facial recognition works very well here. Let's get to the display of the iPad Pro. Again, I've got the 11-inch one, so this one has an 11-inch screen with a very high resolution of 2388 by 1668 pixels. If you decide to get the 12.9-inch version, that one has a resolution of 2732 by 2048. Both have a pixel density of 264 ppi. Apple is calling them liquid retina displays. Well, they are standard IPS screens, but really good ones. They've got rounded corners, are fully laminated and are very bright. At the same time, the viewing angles are very wide, color reproduction is excellent, and with Apple's ProMotion technology, they've got a refresh rate of up to 120 Hz. Overall, the screen is outstanding. I've got nothing bad to say about it at all. A new accessory for the iPad Pro and its screen is the Apple Pencil 2, which you have to buy separately. One thing is a bit disappointing, you cannot use your old Apple Pencil with this new tablet. Well, compared to the first generation, a couple of things have changed. The new pen got more expensive, has a matte instead of a glossy finish, and one side is flat now. By double tapping the flat side you can switch tools in the Notes app. This gesture can be customized by app developers. Its main new highlight is inductive charging. You can connect the pen magnetically to the iPad and the iPad charges the pen. The Apple Pencil 2 is excellent. It is pressure sensitive and even recognizes when you tilt the pen to draw shading. I really like the pen because it is very precise, has no lag, and just works great. However, it does have one downside. With the Apple Pencil, it clearly feels like you are drawing with hard plastic on glass, because that is what you're doing. However, you don't have that feeling with the Microsoft Surface Pen and the Samsung S Pen. They've got a tip that feels much smoother. It feels more like writing on paper with those. Inside the iPad Pro runs an Apple A12X Bionic processor, which is an octa-core chip with 8 cores. Other specs include 4GB to 6GB of RAM and a 64GB to 1TB internal storage. There's no microSD card slot, so you're not able to expand the storage. As you can see in my benchmark comparison, the new iPad Pro is much faster than all Android tablets I ever reviewed. And in Geekbench, it even is faster than the Microsoft Surface Pro 6. Due to the fast chipset, the iPad Pro really can compete with higher-end notebooks. At least when you look at the performance only. You can edit and render 4K videos with it. Well, not everybody is rendering videos, but the tablet is very fast with other tasks too. For example, I've been editing a lot of pictures using Adobe's Lightroom, and some of them I edited further in Affinity Photo. That works great and is awesome. Lightroom and the iPad Pro are handling huge RAW files without any hiccups at all. That is really great, and by the way, better than $1,000 notebooks handle it. With that being said, I did notice that the tablet can get very hot, especially when editing RAW files in Lightroom or when gaming. Not just warm, I mean really hot, so hot that it's almost uncomfortable to touch. Yes, I guess that is something we have to expect. I mean, we do get a very fast processor in a very thin aluminum body. There's not much room for cooling except for using the body itself, but still, that is something that surprised me negatively. The new iPad Pro tablets are the fastest iOS devices you can get right now, and that means that games run much better on them than on any other iOS device. So obviously the gaming performance is outstanding again. Every game you throw at it runs very smoothly. I tried Assassin's Creed Rebellion and the graphics look very nice, and this game runs without any lagging at all. Another game I played is Fortnite, and as you might expect, this is a great tablet to play Fortnite on. With that being said, as of now, Fortnite is not customized for the new iPad Pro yet. That means there are black bezels around the screen. The graphics might look even better once Epic Games has customized it for this new platform. Alright, let's take a look at its battery life. And again, regarding this, the new iPad Pro is outstanding. In fact, in my standard battery test, it got a runtime of 18 hours. That means that it has the best battery life of all tablets I ever reviewed. For my battery test, I'm always looping the same HD video at 50% brightness, activated Wi-Fi, and turned down speakers. I know you probably won't use a tablet like this all the time, but it is a good way to get comparable results. Well, if you want to watch an HD video locally, you will be able to get those 18 hours. Now, if you are surfing the web and are watching Netflix, you will get closer to maybe 10 to 12 hours of active use. And if you're playing demanding games, editing videos and pictures, the battery life will be much lower. However, even when using demanding tasks, the battery will last much longer as if you do the same on an expensive Windows tablet like the Surface Pro. Let's take a look at the new Smart Keyboard Folio. This is an optional accessory that Apple is selling separately, and it is quite expensive. While it obviously features a keyboard, there is no touchpad. iOS does not support a mouse right now. The new keyboard is well designed, it looks nice, feels high-end, and is protecting the front and the back of the tablet. However, the frame is exposed and not protected. It is connected magnetically to the tablet using a pin connector on the back. That works very well. The keyboard of the 11-inch iPad Pro I'm using is a bit smaller than what you would get with the standard keyboard. Even though it is a bit smaller, I've been able to type on it fast and without having to get used to it that much. Actually, the keyboard works pretty well for what it is. I typed a lot of articles with it and did not have many issues. There are some though. For example, unlike the Microsoft Type cover, you cannot angle the keyboard up a bit. It is lying flat on the table. Another issue is that the keys have a very low travel. I think most can get used to it though. I think the Smart Keyboard Folio is a great accessory if you are looking for a small and light keyboard for your iPad Pro, and if you're willing to spend over $200 on it. If you really want to type for lots of hours every day, you might be better off with a desktop class keyboard though. Let's quickly talk about software. Like on all current iOS devices, the new iPad Pro tablets are running iOS 12. If you haven't used iOS in the last 2 years, it is important to note that a lot has changed in the last year or so, especially for iPads. While it is far from perfect, iOS can be a very productive operating system now, not just to consume content, but also to create stuff. For example, iOS has a split screen view now. In fact, you can open up to 3 apps at the same time. It also supports great drag and drop and has a built-in file manager, even though it is a bit limited. While you can be very productive with it, it still has some annoying limitations. As I mentioned before, you cannot connect a mouse, and hard drives or USB sticks are not supported either, and you don't have real access to any kind of file system. Sure, most of the times you probably don't need that, but sometimes you might. A major advantage of iOS is its huge selection of apps that are customized for iPads. While you can get a lot of games, you can also get tons of great productivity apps. Among those is Affinity Photo, which is an almost perfect Photoshop replacement. Oh, and real Photoshop is coming to the iPad soon. Alright, that's my review of the new iPad Pro 11-inch. Is it a good tablet? Yes, obviously it is. In fact, I think it's the best pure tablet ever made. All aspects are outstanding. It has a great build quality, a very pretty display, outstanding performance and great software. Other features like those 4 speakers, the cameras and the Face ID are very good too. And the Apple Pencil 2 is awesome and the keyboard cover is good enough. In my opinion, the iPad Pro has one major downside, and that is the price. I think it is too expensive for most, especially if you just want to play some games and watch Netflix. It also is too expensive if you are just looking for a decent tablet for office work. There are just much cheaper tablets out there that give you a similar experience for that. But if you can use the new iPad Pro professionally, then it obviously might be worth it to invest that much. For example, I think it can be a great editing machine for photographers, and designers seem to love the iPad Pro with the Pencil as well. And if you're just looking for the best iPad and don't mind the price, then obviously you can get it. It is the best iPad and the best pure tablet, just a very expensive one. Alright, that's my review of the iPad Pro, the iPad Pro 11-inch, but it's pretty similar to the 12.9-inch. I'm NJ for mynexttablet.com. If you have any questions, please write me down below. Thanks for watching.